Although the task of funding one's trust, that is, transferring assets into the trust, can be a minor hassle, it is a straightforward and relatively easy task. However, before we can discuss how to fund your trust, we first need to determine what should go into your trust to start with. Hi, I'm Andrew Bethel, and one of the most important parts of my initial meetings with my estate planning clients is when we go over what their assets are and then determine what should go into their trust and then what can stay outside. When doing so, we always adhere to our main rule: avoid probate. Here in California, probate is required for any real estate. Its value only determines what route in court you take, and assets that, when added all together, equal $166,250 or more. Thus, we need to make sure there is no real estate outside the trust, and the financial assets left out of the trust equal less than that $166,000 when put together. To begin, I always start small with your checking account that runs your normal monthly bills, and where you might be receiving any automatic deposits for something like Social Security or even your normal income. This you can leave outside your trust since the value won't be high enough to trigger a probate, as most Americans don't keep more than $10,500 in their checking account. Additionally, leaving your checking account out makes it easier for someone to step in under a financial power of attorney and help you manage your everyday bills and finances. Next, we go to your cash accounts: savings, money markets, and CDs. These are accounts I typically recommend my clients to retitle into the name of their trust by going into the bank and having the account holder updated. Larger sums are typically held in these accounts and can easily push one just over the probate threshold if they leave one or two of these out of the trust. There is some variability here, as some of my clients don't keep much in these types of accounts, instead opting to invest the money elsewhere. In those cases, I typically caution not to let the account go over $50,000 or $60,000 if they elect to leave the account outside of the trust. Make sure you know whether your bank considers retitling of a CD an early withdrawal so as to avoid unexpected penalties or fees. Staying in the realm of finances, but another level up, we go to investment accounts: non-retirement investments, brokerage accounts, non-qualified annuities, or even stocks and bonds held in certificate form. These are assets where I'm hard-pressed to find a reason not to put them in trust. In fact, the only reason would be because you have a beneficiary already designated on the account directly with the company. If an asset has a beneficiary, then it becomes the property of that person when you pass away and is not counted towards that probate calculation. Keep in mind, however, if there is a beneficiary designation, then you will need to keep that updated should the family dynamics change. Otherwise, you risk a probate. Another large asset that should go into your trust is one that I've already mentioned: real estate. Again, real estate triggers a probate here in California and in most states, meaning all real property should go into your trust and not be left in your name as an individual. Keep in mind, the mortgage essentially follows the property, and lenders are prohibited by law from calling a loan immediately just because a beneficiary inherited a home. They inherit the mortgage as well. Finally, we take a look at miscellaneous assets. Rights owned by you, such as outstanding loans to others or oil, gas, and mineral rights, should also be transferred to your trust since they're assets. Both can typically be done with simply doing assignments of interest, but oil, gas, and mineral rights sometimes also require a deed. Business interests, LLCs, corporations, partnerships, etc., should also be assigned to your trust so your successor trustee can step in without delay upon your passing. You will need to verify you can transfer your assets to trust with the company's operating agreements or bylaws first. Additionally, it avoids the entire issue of valuation of the business, a task that can be quite arduous, since holding one's interest in trust avoids probate. Life insurance policies may be able to be transferred to your trust and are oftentimes large enough to trigger a probate if they're left in one's estate. However, your safest bet is to simply pick people as beneficiaries of your trust and keep your trust as a contingent beneficiary, actually. Remember, picking a beneficiary keeps the assets, your life insurance benefit, out of the probate calculation by becoming the property of the beneficiary at your death, thus allowing the life insurance to remain outside of your trust. Finally, tangible personal property can be assigned to your trust, but is often not necessary unless there is a particular item that may be valuable on its own. Some examples include artwork, firearms, boats, airplanes, collectibles, jewelry, cars, and more exotic pets like cattle or horses. As with smaller cash accounts, there is some variability here as well. Typically, motor vehicles depreciate too quickly to worry about reaching the probate threshold. It's often easier to deal with the DMV if the vehicle is not in trust, and many states do not allow creditor protection even if there is a revocable living trust, such as in California. Thus, there isn't really the threat of litigation from an accident to force the matter. Ultimately, one situation is going to vary wildly. Aside from making sure your documents are done correctly, you should always speak to an attorney about your estate plan to ensure all your assets are accounted for and that there are no loose threads that can spiral into a massive knot for your family to untangle after you pass away. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to check out some of our other excellent videos here, but don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell, and tell us what you'd like for us to cover down in the comments below.